Hey everyone, welcome to another Thursday here on the DVD Fiends. I'm Foz, and today we will be discussing the classic Jacob's Ladder, starring Tim Robbins, the smoking hot Elizabeth Panay, hope I'm pronouncing that right, the amazing Danny Aiello from Do the Right Thing, one of my all-time favorite movies. Let's not forget, pre-Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin, in an excellent role, actually. This, Uncle Buck, My Girl, dude, he did so much as a kid, even aside from the Home Alones. Macaulay Culkin, we salute you. Um, okay, let's jump into this now. And I'll give you a spoiler alert right now, because it's pretty much impossible to discuss Jacob's Ladder without giving away parts of it. So if you haven't seen it, stop right now. Do you want to know what happens? And this is all open for interpretation, by the way. You can see it and look at it a totally different way from me. But this is how Foz views it, okay? And also, I gotta say, the DVD says special edition, but then doesn't list any special features. It's awesome. I didn't know any of this was on there, and it was totally worth the money. I'd pay $15-20 for this, easily. So, the deal I got was awesome. Has documentaries, audio commentary, deleted scenes with audio commentary, production notes, everything. The documentary is really cool, by the way. Okay, so 1990, Jacob's Ladder. Tim Robbins, who was a great casting decision because you can really sympathize with him. He's your average everyman. He was in freaking Howard the Duck. You can't not sympathize with Tim Robbins because in the back of your mind, you're thinking Howard, the freaking duck. Okay, so he's this professor guy. He has a doctorate from college who gets shipped off to Nam. So he's in Nam, and his squad comes under fire. This is the beginning of the movie. Okay, the main beginning of it. And as soon as you get in there, you maybe get like a minute of lighthearted back and forth between him and Vin Rames, doing the typical, my dick, joke around that you see in army movies like Platoon and everything. Or Full Metal Jacket or what have you. And then, bam, they're under attack. And as soon as they get under attack, like Vin Rames, this other dude starts freaking out and foaming out the mouth and spitting up blood and stuff. So you're like, okay, this isn't just your average normal attack. Okay, so Tim Robbins is out in the bush or whatever you want to call it. I don't know these army terms. So he's out there and gets his ass bayoneted in the chest right here. And as soon as he gets bayoneted, bam, wakes up, he's on a subway train back home in New York. So you're kind of figuring out, okay, he was in Nam, I guess. Now he just had a nightmare remembering this incident. Now he wakes up. Okay, you're calm. You're good. So he's home. Well, he's looking around, doesn't see anybody on the train, so he goes to the next car. And it's still going, and he sees this old lady who kind of reminds you of the gypsy from Drag Me to Hell. So she's sitting there, and she's just staring at him. And he asks her if, hey, have I missed my stop yet? And she just doesn't answer, and she goes, just staring straight at him. And so that's the first little spooky thing. You're like, oh, that bitch is weird, but whatever. I'm still with Tim. So he walks and he sits for a minute until it gets to a stop. He goes to get off, and this is one of the first of the little mini, quick, did I just see that things that happen? He walks by a homeless guy. Freaking tail. Freaking tail. Right there, buddy. And on the documentary, they did say this, and I agree with it, that all the tails, all the horns, all the little things are deformities that you might see are are based in skin, as they refer to it. It's not just overt horns and stuff. You can see these being actual deformities, and so it makes you think is that demonic? Is that a deformity? What the fuck did I just see? Did I even just see that? Is it in my head? As the viewer, you're thinking that. Tim Robbins is thinking that. So this movie, by that fact alone, sucks you in. But let's continue, because you'll get way more of that. Okay, so he's walking around. You get into his life after this. It calms down a little bit because it wants to put you in Tim Robbins' life. He, was formerly married and had about 3 kids with this, lovely woman. Doesn't really goes into what happened for them to separate, but probably something with the whole Nam shit. And Macaulay Culkin, one of his kids passed away, is probably something with that. So now he's hooked up with this smoking hot chick that he works with at the post office now. Yeah, that's another thing. He's a professor, but he works at a post office now. So that's another, just, he's separated from his family, he works at a post office, not his chosen profession. The guy's in like a weird spot, but he's living all right. You know, maybe he's trying to like build back up from this whole like debacle. And so you're in this, and he starts seeing all kinds of weird shit. He sees, you know, people trying to like run him down in cars. You know, he's freaking seeing just shit pop up out of nowhere. And the part earlier, but I got backtrack. I said when he gets off that subway train, there's a big metaphor. He was locked inside the subway place, and he has to walk through the subway tunnels, the dark metaphorical, you know, subway tunnels, and dodge trains full of people being like that to escape and get to life and get to back to his life into the light. You know, so that was one thing. Like lots of metaphorical stuff like that. But anyways, back, you're in this guy's life now, and he's going through all this crazy shit, and he keeps saying, you know, just stuff after stuff, and the only guiding light, saving grace in this movie is Danny Aiello, who is there to comfort him, kind of like an angel figure. And, you know, he really helps him out. He's his chiropractor. He goes for relief, but he also helps give him relief mentally, as you can see. And you really look up to Danny Aiello in this film. Great. Danny Aiello, you're excellent, buddy. Okay. So, you know, so crazy shit in life. At one point, he hooks up with one of his old Nam buddies, who's saying that he's experiencing the same stuff. And by the way, this Nam buddy is the same guy I was talking about from the Echo, who was the guy in Constantine who died. And he freaking dies in this, because he's saying that he's experienced the same stuff, and people are following him, and then bam, he gets his ass blown up in front of Tim Robbins in a car. Can this motherfucker live in any movie he's in? I ask you that, people. Okay, but he did well. So, and then he hooks up with Vin Rames and the rest of his Nam buddies, and they're all like, yeah, we've been experiencing this too. What happened that day of that last encounter? Nobody can remember. You know, everybody's just like fucked up now. What happened? So they go to George Costanza, lawyer, to check into this, and when he checks into it, he's, you know, telling Tim Robbins that, hey, look, on paper, you've never even been a Nam. You're just a crazy motherfucker guy in my life. And he looks a little bit roughed up, so he probably was roughed up. And the other guy's, like, back out of the case with him, and you can tell somebody's been talking to him. There's this one creepy scene where he's talking to, like, one of the guys on the phone, and you think it's just him. He hangs up, and he looks, and you see Vin Rames and another dude there, like, sitting there staring at each other, like, they've just had, like, a crazy experience of being told not to fucking pursue this. Okay, so and at this point, he gets picked up and put in a car, and he's being driven somewhere, and he manages, you know, to kick their asses in the car and escape. Well, he gets out and he hurts himself really bad. He goes to a hospital, and it's basically a descent into hell at this point, because he's being rolled on this gurney downstairs to the operating room. And he's seeing all these fucking amputees and, you know, crazy people walking around with bandages, banging their heads up against the wall until it's bleeding. Just the most insane thing you think. They're rolling over body parts, the wheel squeaking the whole way. It's descent into freaking hell. Okay, so he gets there, and he's getting strapped in, he's getting the screws to his head, and they're like, you're dead. And he's pleading with him. He's like, no, I'm not dead. I'm alive. And he wakes up, and he's back at home with his family at one point, after, you know, this crazy shit. I think this a little bit before that, Danny Aiello had come in and rescued him again. So, you know, again, another saving grace of Danny Aiello. But at some point, this shit getting really bad. He wakes up and he's with his home family, his wife, his kids, and you're like, oh, maybe this was all just a dream up to this point. Maybe he is back in this. And then, no, the rug gets taken out from under you again on that. And so he's just in with all this shit. At one point, he sees the smoking hot girlfriend he's with getting raped by the devil on the dance floor, and that's a scene to fuck with you, with fucking tail and wings going. it just all is a downward spiral for this man. And you get like a little breath of like, okay, maybe it was just a dream. But no, it wasn't. And at one point, this chemist comes in, and he's, and you're thinking, okay, so it was like a chemical toxin that he ingested. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. It leaves that open at the end. But basically, near the end, you pretty much decide for yourself that he was dead, and this was his split moment of dying. But I'm Foz. I love you.